Hello, Jen Gilchrist here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll be notified of the new readings that are coming out. I've been expanding my business to include this twin flame journey. And I had to think for a little bit, how do I want to support and do these readings? I have been on my spiritual path. I hit my rock bottom and had my whole spiritual awakening back in 2008, and have been teaching people around their spiritual gifts, aligning to their purpose work, doing that deeper healing work so they can really make the income and impact with their unique divine gifts and message in the world for quite a while now. And very recently, I was activated further into this twin flame journey. I've known I'm going to have a twin flame since probably 2011, but I kind of didn't do a lot of research on it, set it aside, and began on my purpose work and spiritual healing path, which, unbeknownst to me, was exactly what I was supposed to be doing on this twin flame journey. And this has been probably pretty heavy for the last 6, 7, maybe even a little bit longer years. And recently I met my twin flame in person, and that activated me to an entirely new level. So those of you that have already met your person, even if it's just been once, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? Or you're feeling the signs. I feel the people I'm speaking to have already probably met, maybe at least once, probably not, or I'm thinking not in union, but if you are, this will still help you complete that healing process for yourself. And if not, you're very, very, very close to meeting this person. And so I'm going to do this reading. I want to make sure I'm doing it in a way that's empowering. I do believe that my perspective is that the divine feminine is attracting this union by aligning her with herself, by doing her own inner and deeper work, by surrendering, letting go of the attachment to the outcome, and going deeper within herself, allowing that energy to move through her heart, to support the divine masculine in what I believe the wave that I'm speaking to. They're going through a massive spiritual awakening right now, right? They're waking up. And so this is really an inside job. And so I want to make sure that I don't put, and there's many amazing YouTube readers out there. I found myself being very helped by them at times, but I can also see where it can become the obsessive looping, looking outside of yourself, putting all the attention on the masculine energy, which is really putting you energetically into the chaser runner dynamic, and it's not really helping. So I want to be sure that the way I focus my readings are going to be, I'm going to take a snapshot, at least this time, on the divine feminine, their head, like their head space, their heart, their 5D space, their mind, and as well as the masculine, just kind of a snapshot of those things. And then a lot around, what needs to be done for the connection itself, what's happening with the connection itself, next step-wise, what you can do, what you can be stepping into, as well as some guidances in terms of how to continue doing that deeper inner work so that you become more and more and more an aligned match to this union happening. So let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the divine feminine. I really do think, and keep in mind, divine feminine, we all have the masculine and feminines within us. So, some of these messages, even for the masculine, will resonate for us as well to be paying attention to. And there's a lot of mirroring, which is really exciting to see as well. Really good sign in terms of the stabilization and balancing out coming. So the first card for the divine feminine in their kind of head, their mental, their physical 3D space is to take your power back. Use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings in your life. And so I really feel that you are and have been, especially through this current Venus retrograde and retrograde energy, you're taking your power back, right? You're really also being guided, if you are kind of in the mental looping space or in the obsessive kind of that chasing, can't get them off your mind kind of mode, which I know could be so intense with the telepathy for sure. But this is about really grounding into your power, really taking your power back, calling your energy into your space there. I do feel a lot of this also, you've done a lot of clearing work on your previous relationships and in your heart space, healing your heart. And so this is helping you reclaim your power as well. And so really what I'm seeing is just being really rooted and grounded. I feel like if this is in the mental space, there is a lot of mental looping, perhaps telepathic, communication that's kind of overwhelming, or really trying to figure out the timing of things, kind of getting that mental space. And this is telling you to come back from that and surrender and just ground and attach to that higher knowing, below to the earth, above to, divine consciousness, to God, to your higher self. and really, really, really just call your energy back and be that beacon of light. That's how you're going to be the lighthouse for the divine masculine to see and come to you. So it's about getting out of that mental looping. And for the divine masculine in his kind of 3D mental space, he's healing his inner child. So he's doing the work. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's reflecting. In his own way, he's doing the inner work. He's starting to see that some of the patterns, some of the lifestyles, some of the situations that may have been causing him some grief or pain, or that he's seeing as a pattern and he doesn't want to repeat, he's starting to really do some of that inner inquiry, that reflection, and that inner work, which is really awesome, right? So both of us are kind of mirroring, and we can both take from both of these messages, right? Because we're really mirroring in that energy, is taking our power back. He's doing it through this deeper inner healing work, with I believe you have been doing too, right? Especially through the Venus retrograde. I think for me, the eclipse season in the summer was a massive catalyst. Through the Venus retrograde, amazing amounts of just mind-blowing transformational healing work for sure around this inner child space. And then masculine is mirroring right behind. Just like usually we go first and they can match that energy. And so we're really mirroring in that space. And that's the 3D, the mental, the head space, right? That's sort of an important, that's like in the physical, right? And so in the divine feminines, in the heart space, she is noticing the message is Archangel Zadkiel, and I'm using all oracle cards, by the way, and doing most of this through intuitive reading, or all through intuitive reading. But clairaudience, Archangel Zadkiel, noticing the loving guidance you hear inside your mind, and I feel in your heart, from other people, but mostly from your spiritual support. I feel this is actually, I'm just reading the card, but I'm feeling like you might overhear, because synchronicity works through other people, conversations, through readers like me, or whatever's going on, wherever you're synchronistically drawn to, for sure. But also clairaudience is your ability, your natural psychic, we all have ability to hear spirit, right? So it could be hearing your inner voice, your higher self, God, divine consciousness, however you describe that connection of all that is for yourself. But also your angels. People that are connected to me tend to be very much connected with the angels. I always like working with people to expand and open their intuition. And another thing I'm noticing that I'm going to touch on very quickly, because it kind of runs into your next card as well, is I've been channeling in a different way. And I'm feeling guided to start sharing on that more. As our this summer, we're going, well, as you know, many ascension energies are coming through. We are divine feminine, everybody on the planet actually, but as the divine feminine who are pretty conscious on their path, our upper chakras, out of body chakras, new chakras within our system is awaking up, coming online, and opening in a new way. And there's something called your high heart. So we have our heart chakra, our throat chakra. And in the past, I've channeled down through the crown and verbally out my throat. But what I've noticed is this high heart chakra has been opening, and I'm coming down through this way, and it's coming kind of through this, between this high heart and throat and heart area is kind of just merging, and it's coming out in a new way, which is that it's being able to carry that unconditional love through the words on a stronger vibrational level. It's just a different, interesting way of channeling. So just noticing, because this is coming in the heart space and it's clairaudience, I wanted to bring that to your attention. And it also comes out a little bit further in some of your action steps. So just notice and become aware that if you're not already, this area is being very activated right now. And for the masculine, and I don't normally read reversals because I'm usually doing oracle cards, but today, the way they came out, I decided there's a couple of them that did come in reverse that I will acknowledge. That means there could be a little resistance to that happening, but it's still happening, I feel. So the divine masculine in his heart space is got trust your intuition. And it was reversed, but I feel like they're starting to awaken more to their intuition, to trusting it. They're probably very logical and pragmatic. Or if you're divine masculine and you're listening to this, I don't mean to be talking not to you, I'm talking to everybody for sure. And I do feel like more men are starting to seek this out and are waking up, but I know that there's a lot of women watching this, right? The divine feminine. But the trust your intuition card came up. For the divine masculine in their kind of more their heart space, their heart knowing. And I feel like they're feeling the energy that they're sending. The way that I see that we are helping support the masculine on an energetic level as feminine, right? We're helping transmute their energy. We're empathing and feeling their growth period. And that's why our emotions can be up and down as well. Now, the truth be told, we have a matching healing that we need to do with that on a deeper level, but it could be stuff that they're working on that we're like, man, I've already worked on so many layers, but here we go again, even deeper into the heart, right? So we're empathing their feelings. And so a lot of the telepathic communication, reminds me of this first card too. Telepathic communication is like for real, right? And for me, what I've noticed is the 3D, the conversations that want to happen in person, this kind of like energy did not feel productive. And that's what I try to ground out of my mental space literally and call my energy back out of, because it felt not productive. It didn't make me feel good. But the high D, but going up to that 5D space and telepathing on that level can be. But what the divine masculine is feeling is that you are moving your energy of unconditional love as you are ascending your vibration, and you're helping them transmute the energy through your heart. Our hearts are always merged and connected from the very beginning. Our other chakras, I believe, I know, because since we've met in person, that started that much more of a merging that may be for you as well. Already starting, but we're empathing, we're feeling what they're feeling. And sometimes we can think it's ours and it can make you feel a little crazy or like an emotional roller coaster, right? But they're feeling it in their heart. You're resuscitating them with your channeling this unconditional love as a healing for yourself first. As you do that, you become a beacon of light, and it's moving through and it's helping them wake up. It's helping them heal their inner child, right? Even in non-communication, I believe most of you are in separation, for the most part, a very minimal communication at that. So that's true unconditional love as well, which is what we're bringing into the planet as twin flames. A big part of our underlying mission is, as well as light workers and high-level soulmate relationships can get value from this reading as well. But the twin flame specifically is merged at the heart, which is different than any other type of relationship, because we started out as one unified energy that broke off in two, and we always, from the beginning of eternity, since we separated, been connected at the heart. Now we're merging more fully as we come into this physical union together, right? Well, most of us will, at least the group I'm talking to. But you can fully heal yourself without your masculine coming into the physical union. It's just, I think most of us will be that I'm speaking to, but if not, you will anyways, right? So you just got to surrender that whole thing, the timing of it all. But the masculine is trusting his intuition, but there might be a little bit of resistance. Being in the reverse here, he is feeling it through your heart. He's starting to see synchronicities and signs. He's starting to see more, right? He may not totally fully get, for the most part, most of them may not fully get this twin flame aspect, or maybe they're like a little skeptical, or they're trying to figure it out, but they're going through an awakening right now, and they're hearing their intuition, and they're feeling your heart energy supporting them through their heart, and it's helping them wake up and heal their inner child. So awesome, awesome job for everybody, for both sides, right? Masculine and feminine. And again, as we mirror them, this could also be a call for us to really notice, are you paying attention to your intuition? Like, I feel like a call back to the divine feminine is that probably you might have been at least coming out of a little bit of the obsessive thinking or the telepathic looping, and, you know, kind of in that energy of, this isn't for all of you, but for some of you. So if that's true, just notice, you know your intuition. Maybe it's time to take a detox off some of the readings, or take a detox from certain things. Lightening up the caffeine spins our mind more out of control. Doing your meditation practice more consistently. Like, what is it that you've been knowing you've been needing to do, but maybe not taking action on? I just kind of see that, because we both have masculine and feminine energies. And so I really want to help who I believe is watching this the most. Well, whoever's watching this is going to get their messages. But the divine feminine, really aligning to your actions, because our actions, we're doing the heavy lifting right now in transmuting and attracting and aligning for both of us in this relationship in this way. But the divine masculine is doing their part too. So we need to give them that space to continue the awakening and the healing. Now, for us in the more 5D space, right, for the divine feminine, and this was in reverse, teaching and learning, keeping Archangel Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. So, what I'm seeing is that perhaps you've been probably getting your intuitive guidance to be working on your purpose work, maybe taking some new ideas that you've had through the retrograde season into action. Perhaps if in reverse, I'm thinking some of you maybe haven't fully taken action yet. So this is just kind of like, it's right here. Do that. The other thing I think that's happening for everyone as a positive is just that in the higher realms, you're accessing more ancient wisdom. You're accessing more of your psychic and intuitive gifts. You probably notice the sensitivities. Just, I don't know about you, but mine opened up like off the charts in the last 6 months. I've been doing intuitive and psychic work and healing work and all of that for 10 years. But I'm telling you, the last several months, 3 months or so, has opened up a lot. And if you've met your masculine recently, I think you might notice the same thing, or even just through this ascension energy that's been coming in recently, especially, right? And whenever you hear this, this is perfect information for you, because there's always access to everything. At the present time, we've just had a lot of new energy coming in. And so this is keep an open mind. So perhaps maybe if some of you are watching this and you're not positive, is this person that I met my divine masculine? Well, this feels like a good validation, because down here in the union energy, I have a card that I consider my twin flame card. And then if you've drawn here, this feels like, if you've been curious, maybe because he's more like, I thought my person would be all super spiritual like me. You know, I don't know. I just had a different idea of how this would go. And it's like, oh, I see him as very intuitive, actually, but also very logical and pragmatic. And I think just now going through the spiritual awakening process more deeply, at least, right? At least to this level, right, of this twin flame journey, for sure. And so, yeah, keep an open mind, and there's validation for you that yes, this is a twin flame reading here for sure. And even the high level soulmate love, I feel like I have to say that, but really I'm feeling like all y'all are twin flames. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. But trust your own inner self, of course, first. I'm a big advocate of tuning in and knowing that what you feel is true is true. But what I'm really hearing is that you are getting massive downloads in this upper chakra out of body space, in your psychic abilities, in your what you're bringing to teach. Like for me, I've been working with, you know, really when I look back at this, I've been helping divine women, like everyone awaken, but mostly working with women so far. I think it's expanding to the men who are awakening now as well. But I didn't know it was twin flame, but I've realized that I've been guiding the high level soulmate reunions and twin flame unions and light workers who are here to ground unconditional love into the planet for a very long time. I knew that, but I didn't know it was going to now shift, like my business is shifting, to helping these unions come into physical, you know, into activate and come into alignment together. I'm helping the divine feminine continue that healing, and even the divine masculine to align the energies into coming into this space, because it's really, really, really important right now, right? But really, I've been doing this work a few stages back for a while. So this is in the reverse. So if there's something you're not doing, do it. And if you're doing it, great job. And knowing that the information that you're coming in with is super powerful, and you'll start to get the clarity as you begin to take action. When I work with people, especially on career transitions or, you know, coming into their unique spiritual gifts, I use a lot of tools like the Akashic Records, or just my intuitiveness, and working with them, helping them understand that what you've gone through, your experience, is here to be brought forward. And for many of you, like me, are being called into speaking more about your twin flame union, whether it's your full business or not. You're being called to share, because what I'm noticing is that threefold flame right there, right? The divine, or God, or, you know, divine there, or I am, and then the masculine and feminine coming together. And so some of you, like me, being called to share. And I know I had a little bit of resistance around that maybe in the beginning. I wasn't sure, but now, you know, here I am. All right. So the divine masculine in his 5D space, I thought this was interesting, but it says magic of nature. But when I tuned into the card, it's very much mirroring. Every single card, if you haven't noticed, is mirroring. Take back your power, inner child, boom, in the 3D, and mental. And then the clairaudience, you're taking your psychic gifts to that next level, and it's about learning to channel even more of the energy in a different way. And he's learning and awakening his intuition. So they're always just sometimes in the spiritual realm, a step behind. They're ahead in other ways. They got their own mastery going on. But in this way, they are. And then in this space as well, you're teaching and learning this higher levels of information. And then around the twin flame union, I see in this particular card, which I've never actually seen or noticed before. It's just a symbol that they're showing me. And in his, you see the 3. So he's also starting to come to recognize the body, mind, spirit connection, I feel, is coming, just now came through, but also the twin flame union, right, of God, divine source, and then the masculine and the feminine, and that union of coming together, the alpha omega, like bringing it all together and unified. And I see above, the heaven above, and the earth below. So this is in his 5D space, kind of where his higher self is guiding him towards, right? What he's doing, how he's merging in that higher level, which will trickle down to the 3D space as well. Now for the, what did I do? Head, heart, 5D. I think this was kind of like the action step. I had to think for a second. I've never done this. I just kind of made this reading up right before I started. It's really kind of fun. And then it came out so clear. I'm like, okay, I got to share it. Detach from the situation. So this was in reverse. So some of you were probably having a trouble, like I was talking about, and the telepathic looping and the energetic looping, and wanting to like do so many readings that you're like, what is he thinking? What is he doing? You know, where's he at? Is he coming? When is it happening? And I get it because I've been there, right? It's day-to-day practice to reel yourself back in. But the more that we surrender, let go of the control, call our energy back, focus on ourselves, focus on your purpose work. So this is the other thing, is like, I feel the divine messages for the divine feminine right now is to, be open heart, like don't slam the door, but like focus on you, focus on your purpose work, give the masculine space to heal, give them space to come back into that feminine energy, but taking action on healing yourself at a deeper level, but also taking action in your purpose work and in your money space, right? Getting your finances more stable perhaps as well, in the masculine, right? We're already up here in the feminine, now we're grounding into some of our masculine energy, and here the masculine is probably very grounded in this group anyways, in their finances for the most part, or in their physical identification in the 3D world. And now they're kind of coming up into their feminine energy, the intuitive stuff, right? So we're balancing out our masculine and feminine within each of us so that we can come together as sovereign individually and then become sovereign together and help each other continue the healing and then start upon, that next level of whatever work wants to come through, right? And just being in union energetically, again, we don't have to be with our masculine to complete this. And the more that we surrender the whole relationship without letting, you're not letting go of wanting it to happen, but you have to surrender the timing, the how, the when, the needing, the wanting, the longing. Those are all energies that keep us apart, right? That's codependency. And really what we're here to do is to break down codependency and bring in self-love and bring in unconditional love, which is giving without expectation. This does not mean be a doormat. It definitely means step into your boundaries, have a voice, stand up for yourself, take a stand. So it's not about letting them, if they're treating you like crap. I just don't think that's happening. That has not been my experience. I would question the union if you're having horrible things with your person. That has not been my experience, but I know everyone's is different. What has been my experience is upon meeting the one time in person, we both went to a lot of spiritual growth. And for me particularly, even if I never spoke to him again, which I do not think is going to happen, I for sure think we will, but I have to let go of that idea of when or needing to have it happen in order for me to heal and grow. And already I've grown exponentially just in the last few months. We met in the beginning of October. And I have done light years of growth, right? So take that as a gift. Start to see all the gifts you've already yielded. See yourself as powerful. Take your power back. Focus on you. Get your purpose work out there. That has to be grounded, I feel, to a degree before we could come in together, because otherwise you just get into, we want to be in that love bowl. We want to be in that love bowl when we finally come together, and then we might not get grounded. So it feels like the divine feminine are kind of being called to get more grounded in their purpose work. So if you haven't taken action on that, begin getting your money in order, all those things. And detach from the situation, not detach from the vision that's going to happen, but detach from needing to know the how, needing to know the timeline, needing to know what's going on with him, what's he doing, is he thinking me, all of that is just that outward chasing and codependent kind of energy. And I know it's intense, trust me. I know it's intense, but the fact that this is reversed shows me there's some resistance there. And so just practice, call in Archangel Michael, doing your daily practices, exercise, meditation, doing those things are going to really, really, really support you. Now, Divine Masculine is working on divine and perfect health. So it says, his prayers, dear God and Archangel Michael, thank you for continuously reminding me to focus upon perfect health and guiding my actions so that will support my well-being. Now, this is kind of the advice cards, right? So this is the angel advice cards. So the angels are telling the divine feminine, detach from the situation, detach from the drama, detach from needing to know, come back to here, do your thing, do your healing. They're telling the divine masculine to focus on his health. So perhaps lifestyle choices, right? Perhaps exercising more, drinking more water. Maybe a lot of the divine masculine could be numbing a lot, right? They're not used to feeling this level of emotions. And as feminine, we're just opening up and healing all this emotion. They're empathing and feeling it as our energetic unions are happening even more with all the different chakras starting to merge for many of us. It's they are what in the heck? And so they might dive deeper into some of these numbing patterns, whether it's through alcohol, through busying themselves through work, through sex, it could be through gambling, it could be through lots of things, but whatever their pattern is, that they're being called out of, they're being called into you know what, you need to look at this, you need to feel this, you need to come out of those patterns. And I feel exercise, I know that was for me what really did help getting back into exercise, drinking more water, either not drinking alcohol at all or drinking it less for people, things like that perhaps is your guidance. So take it as it is. Now, I kind of looked at the union energy. And again, these are sort of just like messages and next steps to align, all about aligning and activating and really taking their personal power back. Because, you know, what we continue to do and move forward, that's going to create the space as a catalyst for them to continue to grow and move forward, right? And even if they chose to stay stuck, well, then we just need to keep going, right? Eventually they'll get unstuck. And if they don't, we're going to be doing awesome, right? And I guess they want me to say, you know, part of how you can look at this is, even if you say the divine masculine just chose to stay stuck, really just don't see that in this group. But if that happens, you're going to have done so much clearing work in your love space that you're going to attract a very high level soulmate love, that you can have everything that you've already worked for. It's not like you're not going to get it. You're going to do all this work and you're going to get it. However, you know, many of us are very intuitive and evolved in that way, so we already see it happening. And so it's kind of hard to find that balance of holding onto the vision, having a heart open, but then also knowing, you know, that whatever happens, we're going to be fine. We're going to be happy. Our dreams are going to come true, period. We just want to be with the masculine, so it makes it hard sometimes. I get it. Trust me. But it's this double-edged sword here, because we're breaking down the codependency and need-based love, right? We're sending love and we're doing our own thing without expectation. And then that calls in. And he has to do a certain level of work too. So exercise to increase your energy and manifestation ability. So this is sort of like, again, in the physical space, in the 3D realm, you know, what both people can do to increase the connection would be exercise to increase your energy and manifestation power. I also feel that it's guiding you, it's connecting you to the earth, to the stars, to the earth, to the stars. And I'm seeing that again, you guys. I do really feel this group is going to come into union here. And it's I feel like almost on the last legs of it, right? I see the circle, the omega of God, there's a bird there and two there. So it's that Trinity space. Like there's just a lot there. Actually, that's the earth, but it's coming. Okay, it's starting to balance. The next card, this is a card I see as a twin flame card. There's not a twin flame card in the Romance Angels deck, but this is one that came through strong for me as one, right? Two angelic beings, fully embraced as one almost, right? And so this is saying to work on your partnership, but I think it's really an inside job first for both people, but then at a certain point, I feel like the heart-to-heart conversations and conversations will need to be happening. For some of you, it might actually be time for it. For some of you, this might be a call for, this still feels like this is in the heart space. So it feels like, again, I'm going to put a link in here below, actually, because I did an extended 30-minute deeper reading and 30-minute healing and activation specifically for the twin flame alignment and activation. And I'm feeling like, because it's talking about this channeling through the heart here, embodying unconditional love, releasing codependence, breaking down addiction energy, all of this stuff is in that particular thing, and it's only $22 on a special. So I'm going to put that link down here below. But it feels like, how do you keep an open heart in a non-codependent, unattached way? We still need to keep our hearts open, because if we don't allow ourselves to forgive and keep open in a healthy way, we know we're healing ourselves. I'm working a lot with Jesus. I don't know, I feel like a lot of you probably are recognizing Jesus and Mother Mary. He's like heading this up. I feel like it's been insane since summertime for me, last 6 months, how strong this has been, because he's helping us to embody that, his original message of unconditional love. And this is not a religious situation, but it's definitely no joke in terms of his ability to be able to help. And he showed me, no, you don't just give energy and send energy to the masculine this way and fix him, right? No, you have to, when you feel something heavy, it might be his, it might be yours, you can distinguish that, but then you come back and you really call that divine love in, you connect with your higher self, you really get rooted, you do the deeper work, and you just channel that divine love energy, that unconditional love energy down through yourself, heal yourself, because ultimately there's more to always heal there, right? And as you do that, it just forces through the connection of your heart, which can never be severed, right? So we can't close our hearts off to the masculine, even if their behavior in the moment isn't nice, perhaps. I just don't see that. Mine, I don't know. I guess it could be for some. Perhaps they're really triggered. Perhaps they still haven't quite hit their spiritual awakening yet, right? So I think each journey is different. This is where personal readings are a little bit more specific. But if you close off your heart, you're closing your heart off to yourself, right? And that's not helping the situation. It doesn't mean be a doormat, though. Again, there's a total difference between having an open heart with that unconditional love, because if you close it off to him, then you're closing it off to you. It doesn't mean that you accept unhealthy behavior. It definitely means you stand up and speak your truth. In fact, in this relationship, before we even met, I had to sit there and like, I found myself being pushed into, hey, here's a boundary. Hey, here's just much more than I ever would have in the past. But it was well received. And, you know, it wasn't about me just like giving up of myself. Again, we had to stand in our power, we had to stand in our truth, but we also need to stand with an open heart and give a relationship a chance when the time is ready. And I feel like for some of the masculine, it might be time to reach out. Like maybe he's afraid to or isn't sure. So it could be different messages for different people. The next card is flower power. And it says, spend time with flowers and flower essences to increase your personal healing power. And what I'm feeling right now is that this is about, I mean, for sure, being in nature, if you can be in nature, is super grounding and healing and connective. I'm also feeling like essential oils and crystals are helpful support. But mostly what I'm feeling is that you are connecting with the earth and you're connecting with the heaven, as above, so below, and you're bringing that in. And so your daily ritual and practices are really important to be able to manifest this, right? And I also see that, you know, it feels like you've planted your seeds, you're continuing to plant your seeds, and that's maybe something significant for some. Spring, the things will be blooming. Right, that was just sort of more of an intuitive thing that came in. Now this card has a few different ways to be interpreted. There's a very special meaning for some of you. It won't resonate for all, but I'm feeling I'm going to have to do a video on this. I can tell because the angels had a long talking to me about this. And there's three things that could come up with this. And for some of you, small sum of you, and you'll know, obviously, the card is pregnancy. And it says the birth of a child brings great blessings to you and this world. And so here's a couple of things. There's like a few things. So for some of you, what I'm hearing is that for some people, the situation for a few people could be part of the hiccup or what seemingly is a block in this connection is that the divine masculine got a karmic partner pregnant, right? Or at least she's saying it is. So, you know, depending on the timeline and the situation, it feels like there's three options. Could be pregnant, miscarriage happens depending on things, or maybe she says she is, but she's really not, or the DNA ends up being somebody else's, or she really is, and she really is. And so the divine masculine's like, oh my gosh, like didn't want that to happen. And, you know, he's thinking, oh my gosh, here I met this person and I don't want this to happen, but this happened, and now what the hell? Now I just ruined it. There's no way. I think the masculine are seeing this as a major block, and perhaps the feminine, whether they know or don't know yet, could see it as a major issue, right? But the truth is, the angels were telling me, is that it's not. There's nothing that could be a block that cannot be overcome, or that's not going to be divine, that for the true twin flames, right? And in some ways, in spiritual truth, that baby would be of you because you guys share soul energy. So maybe perhaps that's just how this child needed to come in. You'll have a spiritual agreement or contract with that child, their children, right? But there's a sense that for just a small portion of the masculine feel like, oh my God, I'm screwed. Like they're kind of having a hard time with that, and it could be part of the block. Or again, there might be shock from you, or it'd be hard to deal with. But of course, it has to be handled well. This is very unique situations. For other people, this is going to mean, and then what it came through for me is when I was younger, I already knew there was a boy that wanted to come through me. I had one daughter, and there's a baby boy that wanted to come through me. And I was like, nope. No, I had an abortion when I was younger. I had a really abusive relationship. I already had a 15-month-old daughter, got with somebody else who was the same type of physically abusive person. I had just gotten out of the one with her dad. Like, it was just a mess. Like, I don't know about you guys, but probably have had very extreme, intense lives. Like, I'm sure everybody here has on different levels. I was through lots of different types of abuse, and I just couldn't do it. And so I had an abortion. But I knew there was this baby boy, and a couple times just wanting to come through. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it alone. I'm not doing it unless I was married with somebody who was going to help. Like, raising my daughter by myself was was hard. She's my pride and joy, and I love her more than anything. But it was like, I just couldn't do it. So there's this baby spirit boy. I mean, if I had a true contract, maybe he had to come in through someone else, right? But it still would be mine to help influence and carry out. So there's many different scenarios. Now, again, I don't even know if that's the case for me or not, but the angels because I'm here teaching and guiding, a lot of you said that that is a possibility for a lot of twin flames. That could be a massive, especially the masculine, thinking that, oh, I can't even reach out, even though they might want to, because they can't see how it would be possible. So if you're hearing this, it's never going to be a problem if it's your true twin flame. It's actually meant to be. It will be a blessing. And same for the feminine, to realize that as well. And also for me, okay, that's why part of that came up for me, like my own healing work was around the guilt around having the abortion to begin with and saying no to that, right? And so, you know, that was part of my receiving thing, a part of my second chakra shame and like all this stuff. So there was healing work for me to do around this possibility happening when they were sharing, you know, some of the things that are going on for some of the masculine that triggered me into deeper healing around some of this work that I thought I'd completed. So I'm saying that for any of you who may have had a situation, maybe you had an abortion or a miscarriage or some situation where you said no to a pregnancy, or perhaps the masculine got somebody else pregnant, or they have a young child and it just feels like hard, right? There's blessings within that. It's not a block. Okay, if that's the case. Now, for a good majority of the people, I just had to say that. Now I might do another video on that, a little bit more deeper about what I got, because the angels talked a long time on that. That this is a cycle. You're in an incubation period. The union with the masculine and feminine, you guys are in an incubation period. Look how close she is to like being pregnant, right? You're still kind of in this manifestation stage. It hasn't birthed in the physical yet, but it's coming. It's going to. Look how pregnant she is, right? It's a gestation period. It's an incubation period. It has to kind of cultivate and grow, and both people have to align and to heal and, you know, do their things so that it can come together. So it's about having that patience and surrender and knowing that it's coming. And I see, even though she has angel rings, they just show me it's like transformation. This transformation is necessary for you to come together and stay together, right, in a healthy way, and have this amazing, blissful love that heals the planet, right? And also it's going to birth new projects, new ideas, new things, right? And I mean, how cool is that? And then some of you will have babies with your twins. I know that these twin flames, these babies want to come through this twin flame union, because it's like we're birthing a new generation, a new world of unconditional love. And how amazing will that be for these babies to come through and be able to see and witness that type of relationship that we didn't. We had to do a lot of healing through. Chances are, I think you know, I don't know my particular divine masculine story, because we've actually met once too at the moment, but you know, I guarantee if he's marrying me, then he had some intensities and adversities and things to heal through, as all of you and as all of your counterparts, right? Okay. So let's move on to, now I've got some very specific alignment activity steps, like environment advice cards, I guess is how I like to look at it. Whom do you need to forgive is the first card. So this is very huge, and this is for everyone. Whom do you need to forgive, right? And I love it because it's like, look, that looks like twin flames. I never noticed that before. Because again, I mean, I've been leading in spiritual awakenings for people and helping you, you know, get clear on your message and your purpose work and all that. But now that it's taken to the next level, this twin flame stuff, these cards I've used forever, I'm seeing them differently. But this was a huge heart opening. I went to Carmel a few weeks after we had met. I was in this telepathic looping nightmare of like, oh my God, it was making me feel crazy. It's like crazy making in your head, right? And massive downloads. Like, I mean, I didn't know before we met that this is what that was. And then it's like, bam, all this information just wouldn't stop coming, because they really wanted me to understand and trust it, right? As I'm sure it probably happened for you. I mean, massive amounts of science, very mystical, very synchronistic, just continual information was coming through. And I got a 5-day retreat in Carmel. And for a long time, I've been hearing, you know, do these forgiveness letters. So I'm going to put a free resource for how to, it's a free freebie, 4-step process for bless, release, receive. And it's really how to open your heart. It's like writing the letter, doing there's like an Archangel Michael healing with it. There's a whole little 4-step process that you can do. I literally did like 12 forgiveness letters on the beach to ex relationships. Like what keeps coming through strong for both people is releasing your ex. If you haven't done it in the physical world, then do that. Like biding your time with someone because you're feeling lonely is out of alignment. If you feel guided to a relationship that you might heal while you're in separation, fine, that's different. But I feel like for the most part, you guys are being guided to work on your purpose work and your finances, you know, your own inner healing. So just be careful and check in if you're lingering. And then even for me, there was plenty of them that I was not in any, I mean, I wasn't doing that actually at all, but it was energetically. energetically, we need to do that. There's one person that I'm still friends with that I kind of had to address. And then the online dating, I ended up turning my online dating like on pause, you know, like things like that. I just need to close off any leakiness that was happening, as to not just keep getting into the mix of like, that's just for me what my guidance was. For some of you, you might need a soulmate relationship to heal more, right? In which case they told me in this moment in time it would be a distraction and it would be hindering the connection from happening, because I need to be focusing on myself, my healing, my money, and my purpose work right now, period. My boom, right? And giving space and fostering the energy, the transmuting to support his healing, right? From that detached place, right? And then, but for sometimes they said for some people, maybe, you know, if you have to check in, are you doing it to bide your time, or are you doing it because you're feeling led through another soulmate relationship to heal more? You know, it's going to be different for people. But the who need to forgive is a lot around the ex relationships, your mom, your dad, God, money, everything. I did so many of these. Huge in healing your heart and opening your heart. Even if you broke up with them years ago, energetically, there could be things there. And practice, 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 practice. This is all about daily practice. You can polish your skills, talents, and increase your confidence. So for those of you in career change, also reach out to me too, because this is what I do. I help people align with their unique gifts and purpose, you know, move through their visibility fears, really recreate see what their message is within their story, and be able to help others in this way, and also open your own intuitive gifts, right, or healing abilities. So this is what I've been helping people with for a long time. And it does require just practicing, building confidence, stretching your comfort zone, getting out there and doing it, and you'll get better at it. But also what I'm feeling is like really stay. And it's funny, I'm seeing another 3. The Trinity triangle thing has been strong, right? It's your connecting, you know, in the 5D. So in how I've gotten out of the unhealthy telepathic looping situation is just like setting aside time in the morning or the evening and actually doing, you know, connecting in the 5D space. Now he just comes in, like, it's really interesting. I have to do a whole video on this. This is going to sound strange, but I'm being called to share. I started noticing Jesus be a big part of this connection. And I believe for all of us, because his message is unconditional love. And I know that there's a lot of trigger for both sides of this. For people around religion, and I had to do a lot of healing around, you know, feeling judged. I was raised Christian, but then there was a lot of judgment from my family and fear about the psychic gifts and things like that. And I really just didn't know. I never had a problem with Jesus, but there was judgment coming from what I felt from religion and from my family. And so there was this push. And so meanwhile, I was meeting it back with some resistance and some judgment and some defensiveness. And so I started going to church with my family in the beginning of summer. And it really had to dissolve my own judgment within that, like bust the elephant in the room between my family, with my own relationship with source, God, higher self. Like this, it's like when you have anything that triggers you, you have inner work to do there, right? Doesn't mean you buy into something you do. It's hard to, how am I explaining this here? I wasn't prepared to talk about this. This is a whole video. But you got to dissolve your judgment towards anything, right? Because there's healing there. And for me, there was judgment. I was feeling judged from my parents about my spiritual path. Even though I always work with Jesus and the angels, there was some judgment there. And so I was meeting that with some defensiveness, and I needed to heal that. As soon as I healed that judgment, I opened my heart, and Jesus is just like, bam, right here with this massive unconditional love, ushering this in. I ended up connecting with the twin flame. Like, so much healing occurred, right? Because I was able to finally, I was like closing off part of my heart unknowingly because of that judgment, because I was pushing it back against the judgment I was feeling, if that makes sense. And so I started doing this practice, you know, and I was singing these worship songs. It sounds so crazy, I know, but I'm telling you, there are like twin flame codes within it. So part of the way that I'm helping send energy through him is like working with this energy of like kind of spiritually, like with Jesus, like through these songs, like singing, because it was opening up my 5th and my 4th and my heart. And I was like calling in this energy through these songs. And then it's going on my heart, and I just started seeing his 5D come in, and we were like hand to hand, heart to heart, boom. And we were sending energy, and it's just like resuscitated his heart as like it woke him up, because this love was flowing through me in that way. But it was in a very not a codependent way. It was just like I was doing that for a while, and all of a sudden he started coming in every time I would do that, right? And so you can find different rituals and practices. And I'm saying that because I'm seeing her with her little horn there, and I'm telling you, there's something about opening up, connecting the heart, high heart, and 5th chakra while you're channeling. And if you're in high vibrational music or even chanting or whatever you're drawn to. But I wanted to bring up the Jesus thing because I really feel he's a big part He's leading this particular pack. And for a lot of us, there was a lot of things to heal around that with religion. And I think there's two sides of that. If you're a Christian and you might be afraid to open your spiritual gifts because you've been told it's wrong, or the devil's got a hold of you, or this or that or whatever, right? That's kind of probably what I had to go through initially. And then once it happened, it was kind of like, oh, well, now I'm feeling received of all this judgment, so maybe it's that. And so there's triggers on both sides. And I'm not saying you have to convert anything, because there's certain things that I still don't agree into. But now, because I've dissolved the judgment, I can just receive the healing and the truth with a capital T that is there, which there's a lot of it, right? Which I couldn't see before because I was defensive about it. So anyways, I'm just saying that was a tangent, but obviously it needed to be said for someone. We're almost done, guys. This gets long. Like I said, I've done lots of readings, but I do short, like weekly check-ins and stuff on Facebook. So this is my first like big in-depth twin flame energy check-in. Remain positive. That was the thing. I don't know if you can see it, but this is like divinely orchestrated, you guys. There was like a legion of angels like I've never seen backing me up when I started this whole thing. And it was actually before I met him. It started in the summertime when I started clearing the energy fluids. I was feeling heavy at the beginning of the year, having a hard time getting work done, almost feeling like some low-level depression. I'm not really depressed, but like this low-level energy, no motivation. And then I started working so much energy through the eclipse season over the summer in 2018, if you're listening to this. And then, we kind of just led into meeting and then continued deeper work. So it's crazy, how much support you have, and that this is it's a holy and divine union, right? It's protected. It's like, this is, the universe wants this to happen because this is how we bring heaven to earth. This is how we have the new earth, right? I mean, it doesn't matter which way you say it in a new age term or a religious term, it's all leading towards what they want to be the same thing, which is kind of like the second coming of Christ is how I would look at it from a Christian perspective, right? This is how we're doing that. I believe Mary and Jesus were like the twin flames, right? And so his message is just unconditional love, setting the religious dogma aside, right? Of the power and control, just different things that came into it, right? And so, yeah, it's a big deal. So remain positive. You can't really screw this up. We might prolong things if we get in our own way and we don't surrender or we don't take action. We might prolong things, but that's why the fastest thing to do is to surrender, let go, align, and take action, inspired action, right? And be patient. So there's lots of importance there, but just remain positive and you'll have success. You're going to have success. It's happening, right? And the more that we can just surrender, I feel the quicker things can align. And the more we call our energy out of the divine masculine space, because even if we're not reaching out to them in the chaser dynamic, the runner chaser dynamic, energetically it's happening when we're constantly like getting obsessively into like, what are they doing? Are they healing? Are they doing, it's like, and I get it because it's a lot, but what I have found is when I just use my tools, when I just ask Archangel Michael, vacuum out all of this telepathic looping, like really use my energetic and psychic tools as a highly sensitive empathic person who's seeing and reading the energy and hearing the communications and seeing visuals all day long, it's too much. I couldn't get anything done. I had to figure out a way to have us communicate on a different way that's contained in a way that actually worked. So I create practices in the morning and the evening. Yes, some days are harder than others. Yes, it's not a perfect science, but you have spiritual support. And the more that you catch yourself and call yourself, reel yourself back in and focus on what you need to do for you, it opens the heart and it just helps the situation in a different way, right? Block out distractions. So this is why I say, I just feel like for the most part, it's like really about you working on you and your purpose work. Your life purpose and other priorities need your undivided attention. So it's time for you to take charge of your schedule and working on turn off electronics and avoid anyone or anything that distracts you from what's important. You already know what your directions or distractions are, so you have the responsibility to powerfully block them out. So you guys, it's up to us to focus, focus, focus. Okay, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want that high road? We always have opportunity. It's like, the way I see it is, we can take the low road, which is probably pre-awakening, right? Where we're just like total victim, repeating cycles, things were happening to us. Everything was just over and over in this funky little cycle, right? We have an awakening, boom. Now we're kind of on the spiritual path. We're starting to realize we get to have the power of situation, begin to heal ourselves and our patterns, start to wake up, to wanting more purpose and fulfillment and all of that, right? And that's kind of here in this middle choice. And then there's that high road path, that destiny path. Your destinies, believe it's always guaranteed. I believe we have to choose it. We choose it by co-creating and doing our part with the universe. We can stay complacent in our comfort zone, right? There's all these shades of gray in this middle chunk here. How about, what, you got to choose it. You got to choose it. You got to take action with it, right? Now, this union is pretty strong, but people still do have choice, and that's why we have to kind of surrender. And we have to choose to come out of our comfort zone. Doing our purpose work requires us to continually stretch our comfort zone, right? And take leaps of faith. That's how it builds our resilience. And I'm just feeling like a lot of you have already been doing this as well, so you know that. But we got to keep kind of going, right? And that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're like on this, creeping ourselves up to align with that highest path. And so this is saying detox your friendships. This could be on Facebook. This could be in your circles. This could be recognizing, your job, your environment, maybe being called to move. Your abundance flow is being affected by the people whom you're spending time with. So be discerning about your associations and relationships. Choose to be with people who are inspiring, generous, and supportive. And so what I'm seeing is, as we up level, grow, and shift, we're on a high track of transformation, which means our circles of friends, things that excite us, circles, habits, patterns, like just things that used to be good for us are no longer aligned, right? And so sometimes it feels lonely on this path. But we are kind of being called to really pay attention to how we're spending our time and with whom and what our environment's like in order to do that. And sometimes I just go through like detoxing off maybe Facebook groups that they're no longer aligned, like maybe even just getting advice. Like I find this twin flame journey, this is why I also was hesitant at first. I was like, really, I have to talk about it? Because I felt like I wanted to protect it. And then they told me that they are protecting it, and that I don't have to worry about it. Like it's like we've gone far enough with the momentum, it's going to be okay, and that I can trust that. But part of me feels like and the right people will see it, who will be supportive, right, for the most part. And understand that's just being called in, and that's just because that's the energy that's set. They want this to happen very much, right? The universe needs this to happen. I wouldn't say need, but I think that ultimately speaking, we have a big part of this ascension process. We're a big part of it, right? As any light workers, high level soulmate reunion, twin flame union, we all have different roles, but we're all part of it. And then remembering that God is your source. Right? And again, you can look at that as God as your source. You can look at that as your higher self. You can look at that as the universe, the source of all that is. Like, don't let certain words trip you up. If the word trips you up, then you probably got some work to do on that religious judgment, which I know is a doozy. Don't get me wrong. I remember. That's why I think it was my one that took me a long time to move through. And I never really could understand it because Jesus has always been really present for me, but just not like so much of the hypocrisy that I was feeling. And being misunderstood. I think for me, the core of the thing with my family was feeling like they were seeing me as like the devil's got a hold of me, all this fear. And it's like, wait a second, you don't see me. So it was my own wound around not being fully seen and validated for who I am, like being so misunderstood. There's that misunderstood wound, which I know a lot of you feel as starseeds, as like light workers, as anyone on their spiritual path like this to a degree. There's a sense of feeling like the lone wolf, like maybe the odd man out, or like just being misunderstood and feeling alone and all of that. So that was a huge wound to heal, that I healed through the picture and the doorway and the drama that I was experiencing through that judgment. And then in turn, I was matching the judgment, right? So that doesn't work. You got to heal it to open your heart more. So what is it for you, right? It might not be religion. It might be something else. But remember that there's no lack or limitation. There's plenty of abundance for all to share. And that faith opens all doorways. And I really just feel like using your spiritual support team is going to be really, really, really huge. Working with your inner child, I'm seeing, knowing that you're not alone, calling in your angels and your spiritual support, because this can be crazy making in your head. I mean, I have like over 70 pages just in the last 2 months of processing this journey. Partly so I could teach it, but first, actually, it was for me. It was for me because like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Is this true? Is this not true? Is it him? Is it not him? What's going on? What's going on? Download, download, download. Holy shit, what's going on? It's just like, oh my God. I'm like, okay. I was like living in this like huge, like alternate, like I was so much into 5D, or I was just seeing so much. It was very intense, right? But it's almost like I needed to really understand it so fully so that I didn't just abandon, because otherwise in the physical world, when you're not getting any response, there would be nothing for me to hold on to. And if you start talking about this is what they're bringing me back around to. You start talking about this type of relationship with people who don't get it, even some spiritual people, if they're not a twin flame, I have found a few couple of friends that I could confide in that I don't know have the twin flame energy necessarily, but for the most part, I feel like it's just, this is your own, I don't know, be careful how you start to talk and share about this, I would say. Just use your discernment, because you're going to be met with a lot of resistance and naysaying, which might put you into further doubt, right? And a lot of the doubt you're feeling is the masculine's doubt, because they're not as far into the spiritual journey as we are in terms of being open and accepting ever. Or perhaps I've known, you've known probably the divine feminine for a long time that this would happen. Right? I didn't know how, I didn't know what the journey was like. I hadn't researched it back then. So I was like, holy crap, this is no screwing around. This is like some serious personal development, like deep work. Just when you thought you have done a lot of deep work, you get into this journey and you realize, holy crap. Okay, this is like hardcore, right? It's not for the faint of heart. But you have to remember that this is not your first rodeo at all, right? You have many, 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 many lifetimes of experience and wisdom. You're calling on much spiritual support, and you're highly evolved and have healed a lot to be even to this point of things, right? And you have to understand that your divine masculine is the same. He just might have been asleep longer, because that was the agreement. That's how this dynamic works, right? But he's going to awaken much more quickly, because there's so much more grounding. The way I was looking at it is like their grounding is like, I know that when we met in person, I recognized I think he had this mastery a lot from his job or his profession. We didn't really talk about it, but I kind of could see his mastery of like his ability to manifest. He's pretty undeniable. Honestly, I could see where women, like especially for like, they're going to be attracted to them because they know how to get what they want. They probably aren't denied that much, right? I was feeling that. I was like, what in the hell? And then I was watching his energy a couple times with myself and with somebody that worked at the place that we're at. I was like, he knows how to get what he wants, but he wasn't manipulative, right? Masculine, feminine. So they know, they just may not call it like we call it yet, right? So, and they're very grounded, right? And so what I noticed was you get a ride off each other's mastery. So he's got probably access to my spiritual awakening tool, like all my spiritual growth, and the fact that I'm aware and conscious of working this energy, right, to support. And the 5D, even though he may not hear it, or me, I don't know. But I also have access to his, so like my grounding got so much stronger immediately. My ability to be patient and detached. I was like, thank goodness, because I kind of needed that for this next leg, which I didn't know. So of course we had to meet for a second, because like we both needed that hello and the Kundalini awakening to happen and all of that, right? But then I kicked things into gear. So you have to trust them. They're not, this is not their first rodeo either, right? This is kind of like the soul contract in terms of the timing on the wake ups, I think. And they're going to wake up quicker because they are so much more grounded. It's just a little harder for them to get there, but we're also helping them transmute the energy. We've been transmuting and getting really good at this for a really long time. And then now we're like waving our emotional roller coaster with them, because we're empathing all their feelings. And it's like, holy mother, what the heck, right? Are you exhausted? I was kind of exhausted. We have to take care of our bodies and ourselves. But that right now is also part of your purpose, right? That was the agreement. So anyways, I know I've been talking a while now, but clearly there was a message to be shared. And I'm going to put in the comments as a reminder, the free forgiveness freebie. If you need help on that, I think we can always do more. And again, you can do it with mom, dad, ex relationships, siblings, God, money. Like, you know what? Just got to keep, there's always more work there. And I'm also going to put in the twin flame alignment activation that I have for $22. That was 30-minute more reading. If you feel like it's a ding ding, right? It's not an extended specific off this, but it's the same collective. And there's a lot of energy in here that I touched on a deeper level. But more than that, I did a 30-minute energetic healing activation on these topics as well. So that will be very powerful for some of you. And I want to extend that as well. So you can check that there. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what's going on, how this is for you. I'm going to start doing these readings. I just now started deciding to move not off of Facebook, but onto YouTube more. So I appreciate your support of my channel. If you feel like this resonated, share this out. And I look forward to seeing you soon and talking more on this topic. So have a great day. Bye-bye.